Right then guys, welcome to the channel. It's that time of the week again where I pick out all my favourite news stories or news stories that I think are worthy of sharing, and I share them with you and we have a chat. So every single week we'll be here doing this. My name is Paul and this is my weekly wrap. Let's get into it. Right, first of all, this is the channel. Please do make sure you're subscribed. Really important. It really does help me make more videos. We did have it all on the one channel, so if you subscribe to that one, it's now been split, so the motorsport stuff has got its own special channel, so please do make sure you are subscribed. The car channel, Gone in 60 Seconds, there are some new reviews on there. So we've got the Polestar 2 and the EV9 both went live this week. Really interesting reviews, very different cars, so please do go and watch those. So let's get into the news, and the first story I found is that the Indian government are looking to try and bring Formula 1 back to the country. This is great for F1. It really does need to be in countries like India. If it's going to be a proper world championship, it needs to visit everywhere. We definitely need a race in Africa as well. There were three Indian Grand Prix, all held at the Bud International Circuit. All three won by Sebastian Vettel between 2011 and 2013. I believe he even won one of his championships there. It did end its agreement early. There were some issues around taxes, and I think teams were being asked to pay certain taxes and all sorts of jazz that caused some controversy. And of course, money is the big speaker in F1, isn't it? If you want something in F1, you need to have money that talks. So that is the key. So we'll see how that progresses, but it'll be great to go back there. Then we've got Williams. Williams, first of all, didn't make the last test, did they? So nobody's seen their car yet. They have first thing first, they released renders of what their new car looks like and the new livery. They've got a new sponsor in Barclays, so you've got this new lighter blue appearing on the car here. And overall, in terms of its look, it's not massively different to last year, other than the extra blue, of course, but I think it's still a very smart livery indeed. And in good news for Williams, they did actually hit the track at Silverstone later that day for a shakedown as well. And it was wearing the fan vote livery, which is great. So thankfully, they have finally hit the track and they are finally moving. So that is absolutely great news for them. They missed all of the shakedown last week in Barcelona. So now they're on track. They'll now be flying out to Bahrain ready for next week's tests. So fantastic to see that they have actually made it on track. I'm not going to start drawing squiggly lines and tell you what all the aero bits mean, because I don't know, and we haven't seen enough of it to do any of that sort of stuff. Not that I'm an aerodynamicist anyway. Jack Doohan has joined Haas as a reserve driver after he was booted out of Alpine, really, because his money didn't talk as well as Colapinto's did. That's not controversial, is it? That's just fact. So yeah, Doohan, I think he does deserve a shot. I don't think he had a good enough chance to show in what was a really terrible car at Alpine, certainly at the start of last year. I don't think he really got the chance to show how good he was. So fingers crossed that opportunity comes again. He's gone to Haas. I can see that working out for him. He's going to be the reserve driver there. So that is a fantastic move for him. Next up, The Guardian's run a story about Christian Horner targeting his F1 return. Again, it feels very much like he is looking to invest in Alpine as a shareholder. More to come on that as it breaks. I think these stories are being drip fed out because maybe his contract with Red Bull is coming to an end because he had a gardening leave term or something. So he's now able to speak out a bit more. So I think we'll see more and more of that as time progresses. Definitely one to keep an eye on, because I don't think it'll be long before we see him back in the paddock. Pierre Gasly has invested some money in a MotoGP team. It's KTM Tech 3, which I believe is Gunther Steiner's, the old Haas F1 boss. I think he is now a team boss over in MotoGP, and I think this is his team. Yes, Gunther Steiner-led consortium. Look, I haven't read this, but there you go. So an active F1 driver taking an interest in MotoGP. I think that's brilliant. Now, I think that's not a daft move, because if you look at Formula One 10 years ago and where it is now, the boost that all the teams have had in revenues and valuations is since Liberty came in and revolutionised the sport. Liberty have just bought MotoGP, haven't they? So you can imagine there's going to be an exponential growth for MotoGP as well. So that is not, probably, hopefully, that is not a bad financial decision. Not that I'm going to give you any financial advice. I think that is a pretty wise, safe bet. IndyCar news, and the Freedom 250 of Washington is coming in August. There's a new race that's been announced, so that's fantastic. Washington DC, you can see why that's going to be very, very popular. There's quite a lot to go here. This is an executive order signed today by President Donald J. Trump, directed the White House task force on celebrating America's 250th birthday to designate a route through Washington DC and the National Mall for purposes of conducting an IndyCar Series race on August the 21st to the 23rd. The event will recognise the historic milestone of America's independence, in addition to celebrating the unparalleled tradition and legacy of America's motorsports industry. There you go. So that's coming in August. Mick Schumacher has had his first taste of an oval at the wheel of a IndyCar. Obviously, he signed for this year, so I'm looking forward to seeing how well he does, and I think he'll do all right in IndyCar. Actually, I think he'll do really, really well. And then Arrow McLaren have shown off their 3 liveries for their 3 drivers. Again, they're all papaya based. Just one's got a bit of black and one's got a bit of blue, and the other one's more papaya. So all 3 cars very easily visible, and of course the driver numbers are all still in that same font. So that's great. I think they look great and they should be easy enough to spot. So on to the calendar. There's no racing action this weekend to speak of, but on Sunday you've got Cadillac car livery launch. That is first breaking cover as part of the Super Bowl. So massive money and intent spent by Cadillac. And I think during one of the ad breaks in the Super Bowl, that is going to be what we see. And then there'll be press releases, etc., etc. So that's fantastic. I'm really excited to see their livery. Monday, we'll see the Aston Martin and we'll see the McLaren liveries in full. I mean, we're expecting one to be green and one to be papaya, not to give the game away. But yeah, those we'll see on Monday. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week is the F1 test. Now, we always use the M Sport Extra calendar because it's always up to date and gives you this great outlook every single week. But if you go to the M Sport Extra website now, it's a really handy place if you bookmark it, because each of these is a link to the series website as well. So you click on DTM and it'll open the DTM website, open Supercars, it will open Supercars, etc., etc. But it's a really, really handy place now to click onto any of these links. And if you save it in your phone and you've got the F1 app, for example, if you click on F1, it will open the F1 app. So that's really clever, all part of the M Sport Extra for free, all part of the M Sport Extra website. Do make sure you're following Dirt over on X, or Twitter as people used to call it, because he just posts all of the latest news as it happens 24 hours a day. I don't think he sleeps. Pretty sure he's a robot. Now on to the test, because the test obviously next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and in previous years these tests have been broadcast live. There will be an element of that, but they're not going to do it all day, every day, which I think is a real shame, and I don't understand why they're doing this. And they haven't confirmed whether that's the case for both tests or just this one, but you'll be able to watch the final hour of each day from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Sky Sports F1 in the UK or F1 TV around the world. Then at 8 p.m. every day after the test, there'll be a testing wrap show where all the action from the day is discussed. And then at 8:30, Ted will be doing the Ted's testing notebook. So every day there will be an hour of testing, and then the half-hour wrap and then the half-hour notebook. So that next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on Sky Sports F1, and of course that segment of testing will be also live on F1 TV for the territories that is available in. The schedule for the second test has not been made public, but because it is now a public test, you can buy tickets, you can go and watch testing if you want. There will be absolutely loads of stuff going on. The live timing will be available, so there will be coverage. It will just be text, video on X and on places like The Race and Autosport, etc. If you follow the hashtag Happy Testing on X, then M Sport Extra and all the partners will be sending out tweets and messages and videos and images and all that sort of stuff that they get from their contacts as well. So loads to look at this week, all the cars in anger, in their proper liveries, and we'll start to probably get a sense of reliability and pecking order maybe. I think it'll be fascinating to see how they all get on in Bahrain. There you go, that's the week's wrap. Thank you very much for joining me. Please do come back next week, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It makes a massive difference. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.